Hi, and welcome back to the Workbench. Today I've got a handful of Sega-themed, basically throwaway games from 2003 that were released through McDonald's. They're little LCD one-shot games, essentially, with a single button or two buttons to move something back and forth or to jump and collect the thing, is the idea of all the games. I'm assuming they're all almost identical as far as the software goes, and the only thing that's different is the screen it's driving has different characters set up on it. So we're going to take one of these apart, this one actually, and see what's inside it. And then they do need some repair. The batteries have, I assume, started leaking, and they're no longer working. So I'm going to take it apart, see what's inside there, repair it, and then we'll see what it does when I finish. If you enjoy these videos, please subscribe down below and give us a thumbs up. Thanks. Hi, welcome back to my workbench. Today I've got a treat from the dawn of time, well, the dawn of handheld game time anyway. These were usually back in the 80s and probably 90s. I'm thinking mid-80s to late 90s. Games like this were popular. They just have a LCD screen with some set characters on it and preset, and they lit up. I'm not actually sure how the technology works. I'd have to go look into that one, but here's a quick example. So you'd move around on the screen and get the things. They'd fall down on a pre-selected course, and that's pretty much it. There isn't much more to the game. The audio is bleep and bloop. Hold on, I'll see if I can get this to... That's pretty much all you get for audio. It's just from a little piezo, I'm assuming, in there. But I've got to take a few of these apart because the battery's gone on some of them. Let me turn this off quick before it kills its battery too. So this one, for instance, turn it on, nothing. These were 2003 releases from a combination of Sony and McDonald's, from what I gather, looking at the back of the case, which is a little unusual. And they did design them in a way I don't like, where they made it very hard to take this apart with triangle drive screws. Kind of irritating. I do appreciate it when they at least leave the screws some kind of usable form so you can get them apart and replace the battery if you want to. I mean, I realize they're kind of built as cheap throwaway devices, but it's always nice to be able to replace the batteries should you want to. And they could have used something like a Phillips screw rather than triangle drive. All right, let's see what we've got in here. Oh, there we go. So it looks like we just have a couple of decent quality surface mount buttons, a protective plastic for the screen so your grubby little mitts won't get all over it, a piezo element, as I predicted. That's for the sound. And let's see, do we have more screws in here? I don't see any screws holding this down. Let's see if I can get this up. There's our battery. It's kind of encased in here, unfortunately. It looks like this is held on from the back with screws. That looks like that's just press fit in. Let me see if I can get that out with a little bit of prying. There we go. All right. Wow, okay, so that's a very simple power arrangement there. Let's see if I can zoom in on this a little bit, or I'll just bring it up closer to the camera. I think that works better with this new rig. So, as you can see in there, there's just a little piece of metal, spring metal, attaching to that. The spring metal sits inside the groove in the on-off switch, and the on-off switch, let's see if I can get it back in here quick, just forces it over next to the battery, or not, as the case may be. There we are. All right, let's get the screws off this and see if there's anything at all to see under here. I'm guessing, given that it's 2003, it's probably still going to be a blob on chip here. But you never know. Sometimes these things surprise me and you end up with some kind of actual processor. Although the price on these has to be essentially nothing. So I'm guessing it's more than likely a delidded special purpose CPU. It'd be nice if we could figure out what kind of CPU it is to drive all this, but it's probably not much. It's some kind of system on chip, but it might just be something to figure out positioning on the screen and drive it, and that's it. Let's see. All right, that should be good. These are pressed in. Those won't need to be removed. These look like they're ballooned out in the back, so let me see if I can get a flush cutter in there and clean these off. There we go. These were just heat pressed in the back to keep this from falling off, or to make sure it's aligned properly. Probably more to keep it from falling off, even though there are screws, so I'm not terribly worried about that. That's more of a manufacturing guide than anything else. Oh, there we go. All right, let's get this off. Maybe a little bit of prying. Let's see if I've got something a little thinner for that. All right, shave down one of my tools a little bit. Let's see if we can fit that under there. There we go. Let's see what we've got. All right, an indicator pointing up. The ribbon, the zebra ribbon for the connector for the screen, right there. It's just a little embedded silicone in plastic rubber deal to connect the screen to the logic board, which is right here. Let's get this up. And there's our system, which is just a blob that's been epoxied over for cost savings in this case. Oh, that's gotten a little scruffy from age. I'll have to get some solvent out and clean up that contact a little bit. It looks like the age has not treated the battery compartment all that well. The battery's been sitting in here since 2003, so that's unsurprising. And that's about it. There's some capacitors down here, a resistor there, and some more supporting circuitry, some extra resistors that are unpopulated over here. And there's our buzzer and the buzzer connection, our battery hookup over here. And that's all we've got. That's incredibly simple. And what it does is incredibly simple. Driving that little screen. Whoop. Don't want to lose that. All right, let me get a new battery in here and get this reassembled fast, and we will see if it still works. I'm going to have to clean off this with a little bit of contact cleaner too. And for anybody who wants to play along at home, these are using an LR41 or compatible battery. That's probably not going to be too easy to zoom in on with the reflectiveness, but that's an LR41 compatible size. They'll just go into the compartment. Cleaning it off is pretty easy. I'm just using some baking soda to clean it, scrub it a little bit with, and that's taking the residue and neutralizing the acid on there pretty quick. Seems to work all right. And clean it up without scratching or damaging the surface overly much to give us a new contact point and clean out the battery compartment. Also, I'll include pictures of the insides of all the other models over on the PC Burn website in case you're interested in any of the particular ones that I didn't take a look at. They're all similar, but different designs, which is a little weird, but interesting. Now let's see how we did rebuilding the Tails Sega McDonald's handheld game unit. And here's the game in all of its glory. Let's see if it's working now that I've replaced the battery. Hey, that looks promising. Startup screen. And press the button. There we go. Tails flying through and picking up rings. Very simple games, but kind of neat for what they are. This one seems to be repaired. I switched over to the omnidirectional mic so you could hear the bleeping and blooping in all of its glory. Basically, it just makes a peep peep and a doo 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 doop sound, and that's all you get. I believe these games are just simple. Pick up the things, and once you've picked up enough of them, if you notice in the upper left-hand corner, it's getting levels, and that's pretty much it. You just get 3 of those, and then you win the game if you pick up all 3. And it gets a little faster as you go along. But they're simple. They're kind of fun time wasters. More along the lines of, I don't know, Flappy Bird than anything else. And weird that they produced these in 2003. These were already very long in the tooth then. But, fun throwback to a older era. Thanks for watching, and, oh, I lost. We'll see you next time.